Okay, I already tried this once, but the screen was overexposed. So some things you may not be able to see, like the stylus that comes with it. But this is basically just going over all the different. I'm using my GoPro head mount so I can do everything and show everything. So, yeah. So we're gonna start from the very beginning. First up is reverse. I already showed most of it. It has 7 switches. You have, I'll actually go into the switch channel key functions. You have TR1, TR2, TR3, TR4, TR5, switch 1, switch 2, switch 3. They can all be programmed to do whatever you would like. So it has a lot of switches, which is really nice. So starting at the very top, you have reverse. You have 4 channels, of course. This is a IT4S, so 4 channels. Each of them can be reversed independently. So yeah, that's pretty simple there. Endpoints. Basically, in order to change your endpoints, you would have to turn the steering wheel. Like right now, I turn left. It'll allow me to do more than 100% on left. Turn right, it'll allow me to do more than 100%. That's steering. With gas, if I pull the trigger, it'll go over to that. That's if I give it throttle. If I give it brake, yeah, that's your endpoints. A lot of people have DBXLs and their throttle servo ends up going out. The reason it usually goes out, and even the steering servo, is endpoints aren't set correctly. So, yeah. Go back. Now, sub-trim. Now, just like Spectrum, you have trim and sub-trim. Basically, sub-trim gives you the very minute little adjustments with your trim. Say trim is making too big of an adjustment, but sub-trim is giving you exactly what you need. That's what sub-trim does for you. So, yeah. Okay, so back. Yes, sub-trim, got one for each channel. Steering exponential. That you'd basically have to learn on yourself, or if you ask, I can explain it a little more in depth. But steering exponential is something you sort of have to learn, but it's got a complete graph, and as you can see, it twists, and you can actually it shows a graph, so you can actually change the exponential quite a bit, and you can see that graph changing a lot. And yeah, you have a little scroll wheel right here. The reason why I'm doing this in a dark room is because, whoa, went too far. Doing this in a dark room so it doesn't overexpose. I could use my camera, but that would be a little harder. Then you have steering speed. Basically what that does is if you were to turn your speed down, if you were to turn, you see that you have the green and then the red. The green shows how fast the radio is actually telling the servo to turn. The red is how far you have actually turned the wheel. So, I don't know what that would be good for, but it basically slows down your steering. That's all it is. And then you have return speed. I don't know why you would want to slow down the return. So yeah, turn that back up to normal. This is actually set to my my Thunder Tiger Ducati 999R. You can see up here it actually says, I don't know if it can be read, 999R. Let's go back. Steering mix, you have regular, which is what you're usually going to use with a regular RC vehicle, and then you have crawler mode. That will give you 4-wheel steering, crab walk, all that good stuff. So yeah. Throttle neutral. This is basically how much you have to give, how much throttle you have to give before things start happening. If you set trim some, you will have to adjust this a little from what I've seen thus far. So yeah, I've ran my Vortec with this. I absolutely love it. The GT3C, which is what I had before this, had a 20 millisecond latency. This has a 5 millisecond latency, so I've read. So yeah, throttle neutral. You also have throttle exponential, same as steering exponential, but it's just for throttle. You got the same graph, rate, and exponential. So yeah, you can change the exponential on that. A throttle curve. This is good for, say, you want it to. I personally don't know why. Maybe racing or something, but you can set it up for a different percentage. If you give it 50% of throttle on the trigger, you can set it to actually only give 20%, or maybe 75% or 100%. So yeah, that's what that can do for you. And you have 5 different that you can choose. The backlight keeps going on and off. ABS, that's very simple. You have brake return, delay, which I don't know why you want to delay, cycle length, which is how fast the pulse is, trigger point 30%. That's basically at what point ABS is going to kick in at. Personally, I like it to be around 80 or 90%. So, and this, if you don't have digital servos, ABS can blow out an analog servo. Just telling the truth here about certain stuff. I'm sorry if it's a little overexposed. I'm doing my best with what I have. And then you have throttle speed, which is the same thing as steering speed. And you can turn it down. Yeah, I'm going to have to center some things. But you can turn it down. This will be good for, say, drag racing. You can turn it down to, say, 10%. And when you give it throttle, it doesn't give it 100% throttle immediately. It slowly gives it 100% throttle instead of immediately. And you can just, if you're drag racing, you can just pull the trigger. Sort of a, I would compare this to a launch control, sort of. And then you have throttle middle, which is how you can actually center your servo, your ESC, whatever. And you can actually change it. Next page. There's 2 pages. Throttle idle up. Personally, I like this. I have it assigned to switch 2, which is down by my pinky. Basically what this does for nitro is it'll help get the nitro started and get it warmed up. It doesn't get it idling so high that it'll take off, but it'll get it idling high enough that it'll start and get warmed up faster. Usually with nitro engines, though, you really want the motor to be able to start without having to give it any throttle at all. But this idle up does help. Engine cut. Basically, from what I see, I'll just read. When activated, the engine cut function ignores the throttle trigger and sets the throttle servo to a predefined position. It can be used to turn off the ignition of a gas-powered vehicle. So yeah, 5th scale vehicles especially. Basically at a certain, I think at a certain trigger point, it will actually shut it off, and you can no, it's not for a certain position. It just shows what your throttle's doing. But this allows you to basically kill switches. That's what this comes in handy for. Boat mode. You have normal mode, and then you have boat mode, which is what's selected right now. Boat mode is 100% brake, and then as you get on it, it gives it 100% throttle. With right now the way my trim is set up for my Thunder Tiger Ducati 999R, I still got some tweaking to do. So yeah. So far I've gotten 5 of, I believe, 17 vehicles that I'm going to be putting on this. Brake mixing. This would be good if you have more than one brake servo. This would be like a proportional valve in a full-sized vehicle. In a full-sized vehicle, equal braking isn't sent to the front and back. Usually it's like 60% to the front, 40% to the back, or 65% to the front, 35% to the rear. So that's what you're going to get with those. Going back, but yeah, that's what brake mixing is. Go back. And then you have actual mixes where you can, say you have a Revo. Well, you have 2 steering servos. You put for your one steering servo into the steering channel, which is channel 1, and then the other one into channel 3, and then you just set the mix up and you turn it on. Basically, channel 3 will mimic exactly what channel 1, what steering channel is doing. So you'll get your usually with traction servos you have two what would the word be? 2 locations for the 2 plug-ins for 2 different servos for channel 1, but with the IA4B you only get the 4 channels that you can plug into. So yeah. Go back. Display servos. This will actually show what your servos are doing. And you can also, if you want to see what you can actually set it up and it'll do the entire throw of the servos. But make sure, or ESCM, but make sure everything's off or your wheels are up off the ground when you go to do that. Race timer, exactly what that is, just basically just a timer, start and reset. Key function, that's when you can go in and set, say, switch 3. You can set it to any of these, none, channel 3, channel 4, toggle channel 3, toggle channel 4, steering exponential, steering mix mode, steering mix front, steering mix rear, steering mix same, steering mix reversed, throttle exponential, throttle curve, ABS, idle, throttle idle up. So yeah, there's a lot. ABS I actually have for the bottom switch on the wheel. So yeah, you have all those that you can program to do whatever you want. Models, which is exactly as it sounds. Right now Model 2 is my Thunder Tiger 99R bike. One is, oh no, I only got 3 on right now. Right now I've got my Traxxas 4Tech, my Thunder Tiger, let me wait for the backlight to die. Yeah, but you can see I have my Thunder Tiger 999R, my 4Tech, and then my Baja 5SC. But I still have my Jado. I have many other vehicles that I have. My Jado, my Kyosho Mad Force. Yeah, I have a lot. No, I don't mean to be bragging. It's just, that's a reason you want to get a transmitter like this. Not only for having all this extra stuff, but also if you have more than one vehicle, you can get 4 of the GR3E receivers. They don't allow telemetry, but you can get 4 of those through eBay for $22.99, and I've taken advantage of that 3 times. And then you have RX set up, bind with the receiver, RF standard. That's when you have the AF-HDS, AF-HDS2, and AF-HDS2A. If you're connecting to a GR3E or one of the earlier receivers, you're going to have to go with the AF-HDS regular. You're going to have to change it to AF-HDS because 2 and 2A won't work. And then below that you have your failsafe set up, which failsafe is always a good thing. And now you can see things a little better because the backlight, I don't know why my GoPro is being such a butthead and overexposing things. And then we'll go back to Spectrum Analyzer. Actually, I'm going to go to System, and I'm going to backlight timeout to 5 seconds so it'll do it faster. Spectrum Analyzer. So I'm going to let it get dark, but you can actually see what frequency the transmitter is transmitting at. Right now it's between 2.4 gigahertz and 2.48 gigahertz. So that's pretty cool. And you can also set how long you want to see, what frequency it's at, 10 seconds or 30 seconds. And again, I apologize for the overexposure. So yeah, that's, I guess, something nice if you're running with a lot of people. You can make sure that you're not, a bunch of people aren't running on the same frequency. And then lastly you have system, backlight timeout, which I just showed, backlight percentage, which I have down to 20%, so it won't be overexposed. System sound basically gets rid of all the noise. Alarm sound, say your battery starts going low or you leave it sitting. It also has an auto power off. If you leave it sitting too long, it'll power itself off. Good thing, yes, but also can be a bad thing if you have failsafe set up and maybe you have it backwards. It'll give 100% throttle instead of 100% brake. I've made that mistake before when I was a noob. And let's go down. You got screen calibration. I honestly don't know what that is yet. Still learning quite a bit about this. Then units. You have metric, imperial, Celsius, and Fahrenheit. I'm in the USA, so I'm using imperial and Fahrenheit. Language. USB function. VRC is basically a virtual RC racing simulator that you can download. One thing really cool about this is you can instead of having to buy the adapter, you can plug this receiver directly into your computer and use this to race with the VRC, which is virtual RC. So instead of having to buy the adapter and get a receiver and do all that stuff, so you can actually control, you can use an Xbox controller, you can use a lot of different stuff. But personally, if I'm going to be practicing racing on a computer, I want to use something similar to what I would actually be using racing. Either this or my Spectrum. I have a Spectrum DX4S as well. Language, firmware update, factory reset, and about FlySky IT4S. Let's wait for the backlight to go off so that can be seen a little better. But yeah, that's all the features of the FlySky IT4S. And yes, it does have a stylus. Can't really be seen because I'm in a dark room, so nothing's getting overexposed, even though it's still overexposing, which is really annoying. But yeah, that is the features of the IT4S. I thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. Peace.